Okay. Okay, this meeting will now commence at 6:06 PM. The first order of business is roll call. May we please commence roll call?
Hi, everyone. Hope you're
Wait,
all
is
doing
my
well.
screen sharing? I can tell.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, she's recording. Okay, student trustee Mall. Also, can you turn on the speaker for those who are on Zoom? Is it on? It's just like.
This one's
on, right?
Student trustee Mall, Okay.
Hold on. Matt, can you please put on? How did this work in the past? I think so. Arthur, you're going to be in charge of telling us who on Zoom is here. Okay, go.
Okay, President Nizamanoui,
Present.
Vice President Kiselski,
Present.
Chief of Staff Donners,
Present.
Speaker of the House Taylor,
Present.
Treasurer Hack,
Present.
Graphic Designer Mott,
Present.
Web Administrator Salvaraj,
Present.
Chairperson Guerrero,
Present.
Chairperson Satineo.
Present.
She's on the Zoom, right?
Yes.
Okay. Chairperson Almendra,
Present.
Chairperson Fernandez,
Present.
Chairperson Celestino.
Present.
Is he on Zoom?
He's on Zoom.
Okay.
Are they gonna say
Representative Chawanek,
here? Okay, just say here.
Present.
Present.
okay. Representative Beltran, Representative Cruz, Representative Pear Drew,
Here.
Arson Pear Drew.
Present.
Okay.
Present.
Representative Leva, Representative Ponce, Representative Patel,
Present.
Representative Sharma,
Present.
Present.
Representative Bogdan, Representative Erlbacher,
Present.
Representative Bilovska, Representative Bassett,
Present.
Where's the speaker?
Representative
It's not
Chidori,
gonna work. It's not.
Representative
echo.
Khan, Lanisa Khan,
Present.
Representative Rose, Representative Riordan,
Present.
Representative Bertassa,
Present.
Representative Rashid,
Present.
Representative Sumu,
Present. I'm here.
One more time. One more time.
Representative Maria Huck,
Present.
Representative B, Representative Slaughter, Representative Joe,
Present.
Representative Barentuz,
Present.
Representative Nguyen, Representative Saadi, Representative Basta, Representative Mehta, Representative Ali, Representative Glenn, Representative Carbonda, Representative Sarah Khan,
Present.
Malik,
Present.
Representative Zaloom,
Present.
Representative Satar, Representative Shireen Satar, Representative Omani,
Present.
Representative Dolma,
Present.
Representative Al Adwan, Representative Corral.
Present.
Roll call, son.
Thank you. Next order of business is reading and approval of the minutes. Please take this time to read over the minutes. Is there any correction to the minutes? Okay, if not, the minutes will stand as filed. Next order of business is reading and approval of the agenda. Please take this time to read over the agenda. Are there any corrections to the agenda? Okay, if not, the agenda will stand as approved. Next order of business is public comment. Is there any public comment? Okay, next order of business is guest speaker. Our first guest speaker today is Dr. Christian. Hi, Dr. Christian. Sorry, I'm getting Zoom pulled up so I can see your beautiful
Hello,
face. Can you start
hello.
the video?
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Dr. Christian.
Hi, everyone. I'm smiling because I see so many faces out in the audience, students I've had past and present. And it's so good to see everyone in a different setting.
Thank you. We're gonna try to get the screen on the, can we present it somewhere here? We're gonna try to get this up in person.
Okay,
Um,
fantastic.
sorry.
And
So many technological difficulties today, so.
okay, it happens to the best of us. Just whenever you're ready, that share screen accessibility, and
Yeah.
then I'm patient and waiting.
Okay, go ahead. So you can't share your screen right now?
Let's see. It says you cannot start screen sharing while the other participant is sharing.
Oh, okay.
So you're gonna have to, yes. Okay. All righty, fantastic.
And then
Okay,
whoever computer it's connected to will have to be on Zoom.
okay, so are you ready for me to start sharing? Just let me know.
Yeah, you can share now, and then
Okay.
I'll let you know when it's all pulled up here in person.
Okay, good deal.
And then if you don't mind, Dr. Christian, I'll introduce you very quickly to everybody. Hey guys, this is Dr. Christian. She is an English professor here at UIC, of course. I've had her for probably like 4 semesters now. Highly recommend taking a class from her. She is amazing. By all means, 100% credit her to getting me into my master's program. But today I invited her to kind of run us through some best practices for a resume. Just as we were going through your resumes and everything, we did notice some things that I think everyone would benefit for, including me, from just a presentation from her. So Dr. Christian, everything is set up on our end, so go ahead and take it away.
Well, thank you so very much. If at any time you don't hear me, my students know my routine. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, place it in chat or feel free to unmute yourself at any time and let me know. I'm going to say the magic words that my students love when I'm doing presentations, and that's I'm going to make you disappear. So this little strip where I see students, I'm going to move it out the way so that I can have a full screen. And I am Dr. Margina A. I am a senior lecturer in the English department. I teach English and also I help to develop and design the professional writing minor. And it is a pleasure to speak with you today. I come to show you some of the best practices when it comes to resume writing. First things first, I want you to know that when you are doing a resume, you might have already observed, and if you don't know, you want to be consistent in the type of format that you use. If you start out your resume in Microsoft Word, keep it in Word, because if you convert to a Google Doc, it's going to change your formatting. And if you do vice versa, whatever you decide, keep that format. And whatever format you're consistent in, you want to always save your resume in a PDF. That way, it's not going to disturb the layout. When you label your resume, as such at the bottom, first name underscore last name underscore resume.pdf. That's what you want to do. That's for starters. Let's move on to something else. When it comes to a resume, you should try to keep your resume to 1 page. At the max, it should be 2. It should never exceed 2 pages. If your resume is more than 2 pages, it's probably because you have a lot of stuff on it that you don't need to have. I'm going to show you what you should include and what you need to ditch. Some of those things may make you go, wow, I didn't know that. Keep in mind, I am teaching you best practices. With resumes, there are actually 3 styles of resumes. In the advanced professional writing classes, we learn all 3. What I am referring to is for a basic resume, which is the standard chronological. Always keep it 1, max 2 pages. What you're looking at is considered a standard chronological resume, where you have your most current position or job, and then anything thereafter following. Something that you're not going to include on your resume is your high school information and achievements. And I know people get disappointed, especially if you're a freshman. You know, I was valedictorian, I was salutatorian, I was the, most likely to succeed. All of those accolades are wonderful, but guess what? Welcome to college. Here's why and when you ditch anything that's related to high school for your resume. The day you enter college, it's understood on the resume that you graduated from college, because you wouldn't have the college experience, okay? And that's something you want to be mindful of. So if you are in college, and everyone here, you made it, that means you're not going to put high school information on, no matter how tempted, okay? Keep that in mind. It's repetitive. It's understood that you completed that level. How many of you have seen those cute templates that you get on Microsoft Word and in Google Doc, where they have the template all set up for you, and these new ones with the circle, and you get to put your picture in? Just say no. Do not include your image, okay? While employers will say that they do not look at people and they do not make judgment calls, there are certain things that can be a tip-off. You want to always consider your audience. You don't know who that person is who's looking at your resume. People will say that they're not judging, and that race doesn't matter, and that gender doesn't matter, and that this doesn't matter, and that doesn't matter. But when you show your picture, it may not be the company that you're applying to, but someone within the company may see your image, and based upon that, may have some kind of prejudice. So when in doubt, leave it out. Do not include your image, no matter how cute it is, no matter how wonderful it is. Just say no to your picture. If you have attended a previous college or university, and that's the case with some of you, because when we went strictly remote, some students had to leave their schools and came to a different location, and you might have only had a year or a semester under your belt. Don't include that information. However, if you obtained an associate's degree, you want to include that on your resume, because it's a degree. It's something you achieved. Also, if you have any certifications or certificates, you want to also include this on your resume as well. Now, when we're looking at a resume, here's something I want you to consider. How many of you have never had a job, and you're a junior or you're a senior, and you're concerned because you say, my resume is scarce, I don't have anything to offer? You do. You may not have a job in the traditional sense, but your job has been in the classroom. And this is where I step in. Under the education section, you include what's called relevant coursework. Now, to the left, you will see it's blown up so you can see relevant coursework, some of the things that you can include. Only you know what's relevant to the type of position you'll be applying for. On the right-hand side, you actually see the positioning of the resume. Under education, right under it, you will have a section for relevant coursework, okay? Now, when it comes to your resume, you want to always make sure you update your information according to the position of interest, okay? Sometimes you're applying for a position where the education matters, and sometimes it doesn't. I always encourage students to have a working resume the blueprint, as I'd call it, where you have that one that stays, you update it, but then when you're applying for a certain position, you can tailor it to the needs of that job that you're seeking. Now, here's something that I teach students about. To those of you who say, well, I don't have a job and I'm only in school, you need to do more than just say skills. We need to deal with specifics. As opposed to simply saying you have these skills, folks, there's a such thing as hard skills and soft skills. Hard skills are those things that are job specific, that deal with abilities, knowledge, education, experience, or training. Okay. Soft skills, communication, adaptability. Okay. So there's a such difference, and you want to make sure that you maintain both. Okay. If you don't have work experience, play up those skills even more. All right. Now, here's something. When it comes to references, at the end of your resume, you should always have references available upon request. When you don't put that, it kind of raises a red flag, because people will want to know who can they reach out to find out about you, your work habits, school habits, or whatever it is. Always, always, before you put someone's name down for a reference, check with that person to make certain that it's okay. Because you never know. That person may not give you the favorable recommendation that you're hoping for. So when in doubt, reach out, okay? Something else, accomplishments, okay? You want to play up your accomplishments. A lot of people will put down the job duties, but you want to play up the accomplishments. Focus on what you did, not just what you, the duties of it, but what accomplishments did you achieve during that time in that position as well. Play those things up. Now, consistency is a must. If you look at this document, there's a lot going on. First of all, the bullet points are not consistent. Secondly, the verbs should always be parallel. We have observe, we have for example, which is a transition, then we have another verb. That's problematic. Document design and format matters because resume writing is a soft skill when it comes to a form of technical writing. Here's what it should look like. Here we have a consistency with whatever type of bullet points you decide to use. Also, everything must begin and be parallel. Observe, follow, make. Consistency is first and foremost when you are doing a resume. Something else, you always want to have a second set of eyes. Who is that friend of yours who loves to read, who's really sharp when it comes to editing and revisions? Step away from the document so that you can look at it with a fresh set of eyes. Sometimes you will miss things if you keep working with it. But you only get one chance to make a lasting impression. And if you say "and lasting impression," folks are going to remember that. Keep your margins 1 inch. When it comes to font size, 10 to 12 points. 12 points is safe because that's readable and that's what you want. Now, when it comes to verb tenses, I'm constantly telling my students, and I want you to remember this, if you are no longer at the job, then your tense should reflect this. Exceeded. If you are currently at the job, it would be present tense, okay? Pay attention to that. Something else, avoid first person pronouns when you are discussing or when you are utilizing your information within the jobs. As opposed to "I exceeded," just exceeded. Remember, start with those verbs, parallelism. Next, quantify with specificity. So avoid generalities. I had the most, or I did a lot. What's the most? What's a lot? You want to be specific, as opposed to exceeded sales quotas most of the time, exceeded sales quota 50% of the time. Numbers talk, they matter. Folks, you do not get to pick and choose which one you want to use. I have had some people say, oh, I think I'll use a resume, or I think I'll use a CV. Each serve a purpose. Think resumes when you are dealing with work experience, a curriculum vitae, unless you have a master's degree, but more specifically, unless you have a doctorate, stay away from a CV, also known as curriculum vitae. Curriculum vitae deal with academia, your experience, presentations, the research you've conducted. Resumes deal with your work experience. The two are not synonymous, and you don't get to pick and choose which one you want to use. And lastly, take advantage of the assistance at your fingertips. Go to career services. They are waiting and willing to assist you with any guidelines for your resumes, to do any editing, to do any assistance, to help you. Folks, if you're not familiar with Handshake, get familiar with it, because that is where you can find jobs, you can find best practices and tips at your fingertips. And it's called Handshake because it's an agreement. And there you have it. Are there any questions?
Yes, thank you. We do have time for a couple questions if anyone has any.
And I will stop sharing.
Okay, I have a couple questions. If I'm a freshman in college and I had work experience in high school, do I put that on my resume?
Excellent question. Excellent question. When it comes to work experience, you can, okay? Because there are some students who go to schools that are career academies where students in high school have gotten certifications. That's something that can follow you. However, and that's an excellent question. That work experience, yes, you can include it. Any other questions? All right, let's see.
Oh, we have one more. We have one question. Can
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, on mute.
So I heard resumes should only have one page. So is it true that like one page should be like sufficient enough? Because I heard that like employers don't even look at the second page most of the time.
You are correct. You are correct. Best practice, you want to stick with one page at the most, at the absolute most two. But one page is what is, that's sufficient. Okay, 2 pages is pushing it. If you have anything beyond, that means you have a lot of stuff that you need to take out. So 1 page, you are absolutely correct. That's what people look for. Okay. Any other questions? Any others?
Hello, I have a question.
Sure, go ahead, Matthew.
Yeah, could you explain maybe more on the difference between a resume and a CV?
Sure, excellent. Here's a CV is for anyone who has a doctorate. And let me explain it this way. With a resume, it's focused on just work, your career, but it's a job and it's usually 1 page, 2 pages max. With a CV, is dealing with academia. When you obtain a doctorate, you are expected to do research, you're expected to do presentations, you're expected to do conferences, you're expected to have written in journals. So with the CV, the more pages, the better. If, in fact, if you have a CV and it's less than 5 pages, people are going to look at you, because to be a doctor of practice, whatever it may be, PhD, EDD, whatever it may be, the more pages, the better for a CV, okay? And so the difference is, Matthew, is that the CV is for academia. So if you have a master's degree and you're starting to do research and you're moving into a doctorate, then that's when you start to have a CV. You no longer need or have a resume, because now you are doing things differently, okay? So think academia for CV, think job for resume. Excellent question. let's see, when applying for a job and they ask for highest level education, what should you put as an undergraduate? What would you just put high school graduate? Highest level of education, excellent question. If you've graduated from high school and you are in college, highest level of education, freshman. Okay, highest level of education, sophomore, highest level, junior. Okay, that's what you would put. Now, if you've never been to college, then your highest level would be high school. But if you're at the collegiate level, highest level, sometimes you'll see first year, second year, third year. Sometimes it'll say graduate, post-grad. Excellent question. And let's see, someone else, last question.
No, I'm sorry, Dr. Christian, that unfortunately was all the time we had for questions, but
Fantastic.
I'm so glad you guys had questions. Thank you so much, Dr. Christian, for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
If you wanted to go ahead and share that presentation, if you're comfortable, you can just send it to my email and I can forward it to our members. But other than that, thank you so much and have a nice night, everyone.
Most definitely. Enjoy. Take care, everyone. Good luck. Bye.
Next guest speaker is Aya Alshpool. Are you here? Yes, Mohammed.
Hi,
would you
yes,
like
I
to
am.
This guest speaker? Or, yes.
Can everyone hear me? Oh,
I think we
I'll put
can.
that as a yes. So I want to introduce our next guest. It's Aya from the Pre-Dental Club, and she's here to present upon a event her organization will be putting on. So Aya, please take it away.
Thank you so much. Would I be able to share screen? Oh, okay, it's giving me access. Are you guys able to see?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you guys so much. So thank you all for having me. As Mohammed mentioned, my name is Aya and I'm UIC's Pre-Dental Club's treasurer. And today I'll be presenting our fall social along with two of our representatives as well, Kartix and Yara. So just a little bit about Pre-Dental Club. We're a really large organization on campus. We have around 360 students on our email list. And our average meetings have around anywhere from 60 to 80 students per meeting. And what Pre-Dental Club does, our mission is to help students on the pre-dental track navigate the journey. We provide various academic support along with support for the dental admission test, along with also application resources. Through our club, we host various workshops to help students, and we also do various social events as well. And that's what we're here to present today. So for our fall social, this is actually going to be our first in-person social of the year. Hopefully, we've done a few, but they've all been online. But for our first social, we were hoping to begin with some announcements and just introducing our club and our board. We were also going to do like a little fun fact game to let students get to know their e-board a little bit better. And we were also going to break out into sections, which is kind of like the main purpose of everything will go on. So if Yara, our representative, wants to go and talk about the first station.
Hi, everyone. So the first station is stress ball making and bracelet making. And this is just for our members to have like a great time and just to, like do some manual dexterity as future dentists. So here we'll make stress balls and bracelet making. So for this, the supplies include balloons, cornstarch, table coverings, funnels, and then a bracelet making kit. And the total cost should be around $42. And then our next station is a goodie bag and coloring station. So here our members will put together seasonal goodie bags with prepackaged food, and no food consumption will be allowed. And the members will also be able to color while engaging in team building discussion. So the supplies will include chocolate assortment, hot chocolate packets, mini marshmallow bags, clear goodie bags, Ziploc bags, coloring pencil, a coloring book, and a poster board. And the total cost should be around $73 for this.
Our next station is gonna have this board game called Taboo. And for those who don't know, Taboo has like a deck of cards, and each card has a word written on it. And you are supposed to describe that word to other people. But the catch is that you're not allowed to say a set of words while you're describing it. So that's what makes it a little bit challenging. And it's like an excellent way to like encourage team building, and it's like healthy competition. So it would be like a very fun way for team building. And the supplies and estimated cost for this game is around $15. So our total estimated cost for the whole social comes out to be around $130. Thank you.
Do you guys have any questions or anything? We're more than happy to answer.
Are there any questions for them? Danny?
Yes, how do you think these activities are gonna benefit and enrich the students participating? Like, I know you mentioned all of them, but just overall, if you could just like reinstate that.
Yeah, so we feel like the timing of this is perfect because it's right towards, the second round of midterm season and before finals week. So we were hoping for this event to be more of like a de-stressor for our students. It's really stressful around this time with like exams and classes and just wrapping up the semester. So we thought it would be a good opportunity for students to not only de-stress, but also to network with one another. Hopefully many of the students in the club are entering a field together and will be peers for the rest of their careers. So we also thought this would be a really great opportunity for students to network with one another.
Yes, Anshu.
Yeah, so if student government were to pay for this social, how would we be like given credit for paying for this?
Yeah, so we're really active on our social media. So we were hoping that once we start the meeting, we would thank you for being our sponsor, and also during our emails when we announce when we officially launch the social, that we would say thank you to our sponsors, and also social media before the meeting and after. We would also give credit to USG for funding.
Great. Are there any more questions? Any on Zoom? No. No
Hi, I
more.
have a question. So, for the total cost, 130, how many students are you expecting to attend the event, and how much would that cover, that total cost?
Yeah, so the room is currently booked for 45 students, so that's the amount of people attending the event, and the 130 is all inclusive for everything.
Thank you. Any final questions? Okay. Thank you guys so much for coming. I'll let them know that if anyone else has final questions, they can of course reach out to you. And we'll let you know the status of the resolution later today. You are also welcome to stay if you want.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Great, guys. Our next order of business is old business. And first we have resolution 2021 F8303. Matthew, I think. Would you like to present?
Yes, thank you. Oh, sorry about that.
Matthew, I think your mic is off. We can't hear anything anyone is saying
The
currently.
cost, which will reduce the cost to $499.70, 72 cents.
People can't hear.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. There has been a proposed amendment to add a storage bag with the lock on it to reduce the number of conference speakers from 3 to 1 and which will reduce the cost to $499.70, 72 cents? 70 cents. Is there a second? I second it. Okay, there has been a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All that oppose, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? Okay, the amendments have passed. The new resolution is as stand, and as Danya mentioned, she did email it to all of you if you wanted to look at the new version. And again, we will be voting on this today. Matthew, if you would like to proceed.
Thank you. So last week, the only changes that I made here was to add a storage bag because everyone was concerned with the security of these items. So adding the storage bag to be a solution to that. In addition, I've reduced the amount of conference speakers / microphones we'll be getting from 3 to 1 because it comes to my attention that we don't really pay for these microphones. So we would only use these conference microphones for committee meetings as they stand hybrid. And I've also sent you guys from
Matt, is your mic on? Speak closer to it.
So that brings the total to $499.70. And with that, I yield the questions.
Are there any questions? Sam?
What's the purpose of having a microphone for committee meetings?
Yeah, so many of us still conduct our meetings in a hybrid manner, just like how we do here in student or here in the assembly meeting. And this will help with the people online hear what's happening in the community, because it's more so, I'm sure you guys notice in your communities, it's more so like a lot of discussion. And these conference speakers can pick up sounds from 3 to 5 people, which is just enough for a community.
Great. Danya?
So even though these don't cost money, it is subject to availability. So we're only lucky now that we have, I don't even know how many mics that we have, but it can change on a weekly basis. I know you changed it to 1. You reduced that to 1 Bluetooth microphone, but I'm just letting you know that's not always going to be the case, that we have 3 or 4 mics. And sometimes they might even change it to wired mics, which are a lot harder to pass around. So it's just convenience that we got this for today. So just to take that into account.
Great. Yeah, that's why we have this discussion. You guys, right now, how I have this resolution written is that we're buying these items mainly for committee meetings in terms of the speakers, but if you guys want to add or keep the 3 as in the original resolution, you can make that motion.
Danny?
I have a question. So the microphone is also a speaker. One, I don't know if this would be the same resolution, but just for the future, something we could consider too.
Thank you, and I agree. For the speaker, I think you're sitting right next to me.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Shihab, do you have a question?
Yeah, given how cheap a Chromebook is, are you sure it'll run Zoom and everything smoothly?
Yeah, as I mentioned, family uses this, a similar Chromebook to this, like very similar to specs and such. And it works fine. They can do Zoom and every normal function. And a great plus to this, it has an HDMI cord port, which we can connect to these speakers. So no one has to donate their laptop.
Any final questions? Okay, did you still want to vote on this today?
Yeah, I guess before we vote, do you guys think we should buy more speakers? Those speaker microphones, or should we just keep them? Then we'll keep them. So I guess we can proceed.
Okay, all those in favor for resolution 2021 F8303, please say aye.
Aye.
All that oppose, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? Okay, resolution 2021 F8303 has passed. Our next order of business is new business. First, we have resolution 2021 F9804. Mohammed, if you would like to present this.
Can everyone hear me? I'll put as a yes again. Alrighty, so this resolution has to do with our guest speaker today, Aya from the Pre-Dawn Club. So whereas the USG has specific funding allocated to support USG student organizations and endeavors targeted for the undergraduate student body, and whereas the Pre-Dawn Club will host a social event on November 15th to provide its members filled with games to help create a relaxing atmosphere, and whereas the Pre-Dawn Club will promote its collaboration with USG through social media posts and a shout out prior to the event, then let it be resolved that USG will allocate $115 to support the Pre-Dawn Club social event. Can I motion for an amendment, please?
Yes.
I would like to change the 115 to 130.
Okay, there has been an amendment to change the price to 115 to 100. Oh, you guys hear me?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, there has been an amendment to change the price from 115 to 130. Is there a second? All those in favor of amending the price from 115 to 130, please say aye.
Aye.
All that oppose, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? Okay, the resolution has been amended. Sorry, did you already present it?
Yeah.
Okay, are there any questions? Okay, yes.
Yeah,
Anshul.
so my comment is, although like historically, we usually only fund like events that are open to like all students. I do think that this is a pretty good amount since it's like less than $3 per student that would attend. And so I think that's a pretty good use of our funds economically in terms of impact per dollar. So I just wanted to add that.
Yes.
Okay, one other comment I did want to make is that one of the reasons I allowed the Pre-Dawn Club to have a presentation was because of their following and their presence on campus. They are somewhat partial in terms of the social media posts. They're very active in various platforms. So I thought this would be a really good way economically, as Anshul mentioned, for us to get our name out there and for our presence on campus to also be increased in a very nice endeavor. So, wanted to let us know.
Sorry, could you say it again, but speak up a little?
Sure. So I also wanted to mention that they are very active in social media and they do have a very strong following. So I think that'll be very effective for USG to also increase its presence on campus and to know that we're here to support student organizations and their endeavors. So I think that was also good along with price tag as Anshul mentioned.
Great, thank you. Are there any final questions? We will be voting on this next week. Danny.
Out of curiosity, what is their social media? Like, no, they're following just like their account.
Sure. So I believe they're active on Facebook. I believe they're active on Instagram, and they're also going to have a Snapchat account as well.
Okay. Do you know the username by any chance?
I can forward that to the general body after the meeting.
Great, thank you.
Great, thank you. And again, we will be voting on this next week, so please keep that in mind. With that, we will move on to our next order of business, which is Resolution 2021 F9 900. Michelle, can you please present this?
Yeah. Whereas many undergraduate student government events, tasks, and initiatives take extensive time and dedication, and whereas socials throughout the year will allow the USG body to get to know each other better, allowing members a chance to unwind in hopes of balancing out the demands of USG and to prevent burnout throughout the semester. Whereas a general budget allocated for socials will allow for ease in planning and purchasing food, etc., for each social, then let it be resolved, USG will allocate a maximum of $3,700 for the funding of socials for the fall 2021 semester. Let it be further resolved, anyone who plans a social and uses this designated funding must be transparent about purchases for food and gifts when applicable, and let it further be resolved, all remaining funds for the social budget at the end of the fall semester will roll over for the budget into the budget for the USG Gala or Spring 2022 socials.
Okay, are there any questions? Can we have a different mic, please? I have to get super close. Can I trade with someone? Yeah, thank you. Are there any questions for this resolution? There are no questions. Okay, yes, Rahi. You can also unmute yourself there.
All right, so it says that there'll be a maximum of $3,700 of funding for the social. I just want to know how you got that number or how the budget's allocated.
Yeah, so for our pizza social that we had for the e-board, we had about 15 members, like the e-board, and Danny, it was like 250.
It was 220, but the 20 were because we were taxed. So around
Okay.
200.
Yeah, so it was around $200. And there were not many leftovers, so it was like just enough. And we didn't have to pay for a room, which typically we would have to. We can't have any socials where we can eat on UIC campus this year because of COVID. The only reason we're able to have a pizza social next in November is because we're having it in the inner circle. Which typically doesn't allow for not necessarily that we need privacy, but if we are gonna have a social as a organization, it would be nice to at least have a room to ourselves where we can actually, we don't have kids also eating lunch at the same time. And so with that in mind, we do have to take in room rentals. Again, the only reason we were able to have our own room or not pay for a room for the e-board social was because there were only 15 of us and we could finesse Danny's apartment. We can't do that with everyone on USG. There's at least 50 of us that will be there. USG is 53 people, by the way. Feeding 53 people is a lot of money. As you all know, feeding yourselves is a lot of money individually. For the pizza for next week, that is coming out to about $350, and I'm worried that's not going to be enough. Luckily, a lot of people, I mean, not luckily, I of course want all of you to be there, but not all 50 members will be there. Again, we don't have to pay for a room because it's in the inner circle. That being said, coming to the official social that we will have in November, we do have to pay for the food. I'm looking at the cheapest options without compromising any health restrictions or anything. We do have to pay for rental budget, and we are hoping to have it at Whirly Ball at different venues and everything. It's all the same price. everything is about 2,500 for room rental, for food. We're looking at trying to carpool, figure out carpool things so we don't have to pay for a bus or anything. We're also going to look into getting UIC van transportation. I think there's something that campus has. That is the cheapest that we can kind of look at if we're looking at hosting something for minimum 50 members. And then of course, we're going to plan to have at least 53 members. So that's what we're budgeting for. Best case scenario, 53 people can come. That being said, we also want to have small gifts for you guys. If you have been there with the conversations of how I've been trying to finesse these little gifts, and I don't really want to say what they are, but these little gifts and like trying to figure out the most economic way of like giving them to you guys and making them and stuff. It's not ideal, but I swear I'm like I'm not trying to just like ball out here. But again, for 50 people, max that you can get with like a decent thing is like cheapest that you can get is like $5, right? So you guys do the math. Again, we're not planning on using all of this. This is worst case scenario. If for some reason our tax exempt status doesn't go through, for some reason we have to get a van to transport everyone, things like that. Anything that we don't use, which we do anticipate, will be used for any socials next semester or the gala, as stated in the resolution. So that is where that number came from, if that makes sense. So yes, so this number, the pizza social next week will be used from this. So already it will go down from 3,700 to like 3,500, 3,100. Because of the pizza. So then that will be our budget after that. Yes, I hope that made sense. That was a lot of talking. Are there any questions? Are there any more questions? Online. Last call for questions. Okay.
I move to use an executive order to vote on this tonight.
Okay, there has been an executive order to vote on this, to vote on resolution 2021 F9 900. So we will be voting on this now. One last call for questions. Okay, all those in favor of adopting resolution 2021 F9 900, please say aye.
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 All that opposed, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? Okay, resolution 2021 F9 900 has passed. On to our next order of business, which is resolution 2021 F9 1000. Arthur, would you like to present this?
Of course. Hello. All right. Time to present. Okay. So whereas the undergraduate student government is dedicated to ensuring campus stays as welcoming and as safe of a place for all undergraduate students and is working to ensure there is transparency and communication between undergraduate students and campus police. And whereas the undergraduate student government is working to create a Q&A quad event between students and campus police so that students may engage directly with campus police, ask questions, facilitate civil discourse, so that campus police may hear directly from students and receive feedback of how to make campus safer. Then let it be resolved that the undergraduate student government shall purchase 50 flashlights, 70 whistles from Amazon, and 155 masks from discount mugs to pass out to students who come to the Q&A campus police event for a grand total of $849.98. So if we scroll down, you'll see that you'll see what the total cost is for the whistles and the flashlights. These are both being purchased from Amazon. If you scroll down a little bit more, you'll see screen, but you'll see a close-up of the items. So the whistles They're metal, good quality. The idea with them is to instill like a sense of safety as students wear them, carry them around with them on campus. And of course, the point of a whistle is to make sound. So let's say worst comes to serve, there's some bad incident, there's about to be an accident or something, we could make as much noise as possible. The flashlight, so the flashlight, these ones serve as almost as sort of like a self-defense weapon too, because these flashlights are 300 luminance, so that means that they can temporarily blind somebody if you point them to the eye. But like it's not, doesn't hurt them obviously. I had flashlights when you pointed at me, but it didn't kill me. So the flashlights, they're small, easy to carry, as the image presents. And then below that, to market USG, we're purchasing masks, and the total may seem like a lot, but with these masks, we hope to not only pass them out in the quad event, but also during, I believe with Representative Arson's, Representative Quinn's plan to pass out, I think socks and heat pads, correct? Yeah, Arson? Yeah, there you go. Sorry about that. Name tag says Quinn. So that'll be passed out there. Plus, we're having masks for representatives here as well, for those who want it. And obviously that total is going to be a lot, but it's one of those things that I believe is necessary to market USG to the student body. And the links are there if you want to see them for yourselves. And aside to that, I open the floor to questions.
Are there any questions? Yes. Sure, yeah.
For the whistles, I think it might be a little bit better to get a Bobby police whistles. I don't know if you like looked at those at all.
You can speak a little louder.
A Bobby police whistle. It's like, I don't know if you can Google it. I can't like share my screen. But they're really loud. And I think you can get them for like 50 cents a piece. And I think on some websites you can like engrave them as well. So I think that might be like a better option.
Come first served basis, but not need basis.
So, the way I was planning this to go out, so there would be undergraduate student government table, and to get the items, we would have a very short, easy to take interest form that you would have to take before taking the items. And if you take it, you can get the items. And it's not like we'll be passing out too many items. Somewhere between 50 to 70 items only. So it's not a lot, but with the interest form, we hope to also learn from students what other items they may want to feel more safe on campus. And also to just overall learn more about their thoughts and safety here.
So in your interest form, are students allowed to pick one of each and get one of each, or will they only be allowed just one item? Okay.
One of each.
One of each?
Yes.
Okay. And how are we ensuring that students who may need this the most receive them? Because let's just say, you know, I feel, you know, somewhat safe, you know, while getting it, but I might just sign up and get one just because it's free. But like that's also taking it away from someone that, you know, may need it more. Right? So how are we ensuring that?
Question. Granted, I feel like that is something that's kind of very much hard to ensure, because the assumption is that running off of is by attending the event, by engaging with campus police, by for one, even one doing the interest survey, they're very much more interested in safety. They're here on campus actively. So yes, like it is a concern to see if like we give items to students who need them, but that's sort of like a risk necessary to take.
I just wanted to add that I think that we need to be careful when we evaluate need for items that we give away, because it's very like you know, these are still, we get our funding from student fees, and we need to be as fair as possible. And I think a lot of the time, unless we get very personal, most metrics that we would use would be extremely arbitrary to evaluate need. Because, you know, well, like who are we to say Arthur needs it any more than Anshu does or Matthew? Is it based on where they live? Is it based on how far they commute? That's very hard to evaluate. And I think that also applies a bit to the mittens and the heating as well. You know, obviously we're discussing something else, just to, you know, keep that in mind when we discuss other things based on need. It's very difficult to do that without being very personal and potentially discriminatory. So I want to add that.
Sam. Okay.
I also just, I think I can be heard. Yeah, okay. I just want to add also that we've discussed a lot the handing these things out and making sure that it's being taken by people who need it. But I also trust that a good portion of the student body here at UIC would take safety and these worst case scenarios with some brevity and not act like jokers about things like rape whistles. I think people are sensible enough not to you know, just like take one because it's free. I would trust people, especially with something like this, a lot more than I think we're worrying about.
Yes, Arthur, you have your phone.
I was just going to add to that. This doesn't have to be the last time we do. Well, the event itself would most likely be a last time, but an event of like handing out safety items, this isn't the last time that we could do it as well. If anybody here is concerned about that as well.
Any more questions?
I move to use an executive order to vote on this tonight.
Okay, there has been an executive. Oh, who? Oh, Lilu.
So I noticed that between the whistles and the flashlights, there's not an even amount of them, and you said that you wanted to allow people to take one of each. So I mean, I guess it would, even if we do get this amount, it would be good to tell in some way that you might not be able to get one of each. So yeah.
Comment on that. I am aware of that. Part of it was because of logistics, doing the math to ensure that the lowest quantity was the lowest amount being spent, but also ensuring that there was a good quality of them being purchased. Yes, that happened, but with the extra whistles, we could either distribute them here to you guys, or we could save them for a future event like this that we host in the future.
Okay, Matthew.
Just one last question. So when is this Q&A quad event? Do you have a thoughts on this?
Yeah, I was going to get to that, but the event is going to be happening November 10th.
Okay, thank you. Are there any last questions? Okay, there was an executive order to vote on resolution 2021 F9 1000. So we will be voting on this now. All those in favor of adopting resolution 2021 F9 1000, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All that opposed, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? Okay, resolution 2021 F9 1000 has passed. On to our next order of business. Which is ex officio reports. Oh, no, sorry. On to our next item of business, which is items for discussion. Matt, would you like to bring up this item for discussion? Do you have or are you gonna unmute? Okay.
Hello. Can the people online hear me?
Yes.
Nice. So, for our USG social next week, not the volleyball one, smaller one,
No.
November 3rd, next Wednesday. We were talking a little bit last week about this, and essentially, we were thinking that as kind of a game for the social next week, we would do Secret Santa, but not really. It's more Halloween themed. So essentially, anyone who would want to kind of join this activity, I'd send out an interest form or something, get everyone's names, and then I'd send back a random name of someone who was interested in playing to another person who was interested in playing. So we'd each be assigned a different person. And essentially, we'd have about a week to kind of get to know a general gist of this person. And then we'd come to the social next week and essentially like kind of either like dressed and like you try to like mimic the personality of that person essentially. So, and then we kind of go around in like a speed dating fashion, getting to know like each person, and then you have to like write down who you think that person is. Does that make some sense to anyone? I see nods.
Are there any questions? Sam?
I'd just like to make a comment that that's a great idea.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
I appreciate that comment.
Yes, Rahi.
I was gonna be more, I was thinking just a bit more laissez-faire about that one, follow on Instagram, send them maybe a message, or try not to ideally, because then, they would probably know, like, oh, well, you probably have me, or you're just suddenly interested in me, I don't know.
Okay.
Oh my God.
That. No, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Are there any more questions or comments? Any concerns about this game? Yes, Lilu.
I find this game a little, it sounds very fun, but it also sounds a little difficult.
Yes.
It's like finding the time to like learn a person. Since, I mean, we've had several meetings, but I don't think we actually really know most of us very well. Besides, yeah, I don't know. It might be a little difficult. It does sound really fun though. I think it could be really fun.
That would be very good, would it? Well, Rahi, your idea, honestly, that was solid. If in conjunction with that form where you send your like people who are interested in playing, like send in their interest. Along with that, if I had a little questionnaire of like, what are some hobbies, your favorite color, things like that, and then I just release those results to everyone if everyone's okay with that. And so then you do have that kind of cheat sheet of sorts to kind of base your character off of. Does that sound like reasonable?
Can I add something?
Yes, Danny.
I wanted to add something. When we were talking about this game, we also mentioned respect. So just making sure that when you are impersonating this person, just always have like respect in mind and be really careful with like let's keep it on the fun side. Just as a disclaimer, try to be really respectful to others. These are your colleagues, your classmates. So yeah.
I would like to add on to that. I or if someone else wants to pose as a moderator for it, where we like see a list of what you guys have planned in like saying about this person. You tell me or whoever the moderator is who you are, and I'll just make sure that everyone is being respectful and stuff. If you are worried about how you will be perceived, but want to play the game and you want to tell me some concerns, or whoever the moderator is, I'm open to doing that. If we wanted to figure out some working around of getting this, of doing the game. But yes, any more questions, comments, concerns on Zoom? Matt, any final words?
Yeah, I mean, if everyone's down, I'll try to get the form out in the next like 48-ish hours and then get the results back in another 2 days. So you have at least like the weekend and a couple days before to read over all the stuff.
To study.
To study. That's about it.
Okay, thank you. Just to reiterate, you do not have to participate. And then again, just come to me if you do want to participate, but you are concerned about something. I think we'll also try to workshop a couple more general rules of what to do, what not to do. Yeah. Great, thank you, Matt. Our next order of business is ex officio reports. May we please have the report of the, is there a report of the advisor?
Yes, so just want to say thanks to everyone tonight for a good conversation and dialogue about the item proposed. I want to continue to encourage you to think deeply about the items that are brought forward to student government, and not just, you know, how we'll spend the money, but how it gets operationalized and how things go into place. So think beyond that first step of spending the money, but thinking to the next step of what are we going to do with it? What's it going to take, and being really thoughtful about how we implement the programs that you're putting in place. I think there are some really great ideas that are coming forward, but I would just continue to encourage you to move forward, or think about it to that next step. Other than that, I want to encourage everyone to, you know, have a great rest of your midterm week as those are coming around. I want to encourage everyone to have a wonderful Halloween for those that are going to be out and celebrating, and be safe, and look out for your fellow classmates and make sure everyone's having a good time, but also make sure they're being safe as they do that. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Okay, if not, the report of the advisor will be filed. Is there a report from the student trustee?
Yeah, thank you everybody for showing your interest in both of the position under the student trustee office. I selected one officer, as you have seen in the chat. Sarah Malik will be the awareness committee chief, and she will be assisted by Manaswi Tumu, if I'm saying that right. And the other position will be announced soon, maybe next week. If other than that, the board meeting will be on November 16 and 17. If anybody have a question or anybody want to come to board meeting, let me know. I can walk you there. Or if you have any questions, I wasn't here for the earlier meetings in the month. So if anybody have a questions, you feel free.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions? Okay, if not, the report of the student trustee will be filed. Next item of business is officer reports. May we please have the report of the president? Keep in mind, your reports will be limited to 3 minutes this week.
All right, so last week I met with the Assistant Director of Advocacy Services and Campus Advocacy Network, Kelly Maganot, as well as the Director of the Women's Leadership Resource Center, Natalie Bennett, and the Associate Director of the Women Leadership Resource Center, Ramona Gupta, with Arthur, John, and Michael in attendance. And we discussed a lot of our mental health initiatives that we've been working on this semester, such as the Banana Project and our mental health task force. We got, them being peer-to-peer leaders in the university, we got their input on our own peer-to-peer program, and then gathered feedback on our task force. I also met with the program coordinator for the Latino Cultural Center, Jocelyn Chavez, to discuss the quad redesign and their concerns. And Kayla, Daniela, and Felix were there. We updated them on the discussion that we had during our general body meeting with the campus architect and the project manager in regards to their concerns about the quad redesign. They were never updated by those two individuals on changes that were made to their plans, so we were able to provide them feedback in accordance to what they let us know. I also discussed student government and leadership for UIC Radio with Matthew and Abigail last week, and so hopefully that drops soon. For upcoming meetings, I did write Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, Rex Tolliver, that was actually today. And we had a really great and productive conversation in regards to our mental health initiatives, working with athletics to be a part of the tailgates and other student affairs matters. I also met with the UIC Chief of Police, Kevin Booker, today to get a date for the quad event, which will be November 10th, like Arthur stated. He's very interested in this event. We also plan on making a video with the creative digital services prior to the quad event. So it will look like a walk around campus where we're going to talk with the police, go to some areas that maybe students feel unsafe, and it'll be a promotional video for student government as well as the UIC police. And so anyone interested in being a part of this video, feel free to reach out. We also have, I also have a meeting planned with the Dean of Libraries, Ray Ballard Thrower, and with Matthew in regards to the course reserves initiatives and as well as the open educational resources, and hopefully to get an update on the charging locker that we purchased last year, as well as the Associate Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, Alexandre da Silva, with Felix to talk about the campus dining RFP process, as well as any updates on that. I did want to update everybody on the recent committee appointments that I've given out. And so for the homecoming committee, if you have any advice or any suggestions, please reach out to Representative Brenda. For the contact tracing committee, which will be, so for innovation, so it'll be very technical focused, reach out to John and Representative Rahi. For the Chancellor's Athletics Advisory Committee, I've received word that Representative Maeve has class during this time, so defer to Michael Fernandez. And for the Ad Hoc Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Senate Committee, I've appointed Representative Me and Representative Shireen. And then for the campus dining RFP process, it's our Campus Life Chair Felix and myself. And then I'll continue to update the body on progress made for the new Director of Counseling Search. That is all.
Great, thank you. If you have any questions, please email Anshu. And with that, the report of the president will be filed. Next, we have the report of the vice president. 3 minutes.
3 minutes. All right. First, quote of the week. So, hope is like a road in the country. There was never a road. When many people walk on it, the road comes into existence. Hope is the first step to doing anything. On to the report. So, like Anshu said, had a meeting with Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs, Rex Tolliver. Also had a meeting with Chief Booker as well. In both, we talked about our initiatives, our safety committee and mental health committees that we plan on making. Passed the resolution in preparation for the campus police Q&A event. Had a meeting with Campus Advocacy Network and Women's Leadership and Resource Center. The director there, as Anshu said, we had a discussion about some of our mental health initiatives and received constructive feedback and criticism from them to improve our overall plan. The ideas were our website plan, the website plan that I'm working on with my leadership UIC team, the Bandana Project, and the Mental Health Task Force. AKA, continue drafting documents of the Bandana Project, Mental Health Task Force, and Safety Task Force with Anshu and John. Met with Robert Valentine, a senior staff member of the Counseling Center. In the meeting, we discussed some of the functionality of the Counseling Center, its strengths and weaknesses, our USG initiatives, counseling centers, director search, and I shared some of my recommendations as they relate to the Mental Health Coalition and some of our USG initiatives. Valentine mentioned that he would mention all of our points in his next staff meeting. And I plan on meeting with some of the externs of the counseling center as well. And I'm meeting with other mental health orgs to start the creation of a town hall event for when the new counseling center director is chosen for next semester. Besides that, I open the floor to questions.
Are there any questions? Okay, if not, the report of the vice president will be filed. Next, we have the report of the treasurer.
Sure, can everyone hear me? Okay, great. So my quote for this week is from Frederick Douglass, who stated, "There is no struggle, then there is no progress." So for this week, I conducted a committee meeting with the pre-Del Club to discuss the collaboration. They were here and you guys got a chance to also hear about the resolution. I'm interested to hear your thoughts next week as well as voting for the resolution. I was able to meet with the DOS student worker earlier today. It was a really good meeting. We got a chance to know each other better and hopefully it'll strengthen the connection between DOS and USG as we are very closely partnered. Third, I am creating a resolution to install a new printer for USG during the spring semester. I'll have more details next week. I'm also assisting in the winter supplies initiatives piloted by Representative Arson. And we're planning to collaborate with Campus Life and the Wellness Center to ensure that these materials do go to students in need. I'm continuing to work with Vice President Arthur for the safety material purchases. The resolution was presented and voted upon. I also got a chance to review logistics of the technology purchases with Chairman Matthews. That resolution is passed, so hopefully we'll get that going soon. And lastly, I would like to announce the new Deputy Chair of the Treasury Committee, Representative Quinn Postel.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question. So can you explain what exactly this DOS student worker does? More so for us at USG.
Sure. So that's one of the more important details I got a chance to know more about. While we do give a portion of DOS's stipend / salary, they do all sorts of work within DOS and managing our processes, our request for funding, and make sure those funds are processed, or is only one of them. They also serve with the other organizations involved, such as the Graduate Council. So they have a variety of jobs, is just not exclusive to us.
That is all the time we have for questions. If you guys have any more questions, please email Mohammed. And with that, the report of the treasurer will be filed. Next, we have the report of the speaker. Time myself. Okay, hi guys. Thank you so much for all of you that had your one-on-ones with me so far. It's been so nice to hear your feedback. So this week I set the menu for our social for the Giordano's Pizza on November 3rd. I am sad I will not be there on for the committee competitions, but please take tons of videos and send them to me. The volunteer event we did set and we'll post like a formal announcement either tomorrow or the next day. But we will start next week in a form of, again, there will be a formal announcement stating the designated drop-off location and acceptable items. The week before Thanksgiving, we will organize all donated items and drop them off at a shelter. All food items that are donated will be delivered to the UIC food pantry. We will have a competition aspect between the student orgs where organizations that donate, where the student org that donates the most items will win a pizza party for their members, depending on how many members they have. It might just be the e-board of the organization. And then if you would like to help with the organization keeping track of items, please email me or Michelle. You will get extra points. I'm not sure about the approval for our more formal winter social on November 22nd, but hopefully we can have it at our location that we want. And then my one-on-one meetings, as I mentioned, they have been great. There has been no negative concerning feedback so far. So gold star to committee chairs for being a great support to their members. Super gold star to Michael for having the most shout outs from your committee members. And then thanks to all of eBoard for being transparent and working to create a welcoming environment. And as we had the reps transition in, that was a huge part of it. And then of course, thank you to reps for always communicating and filling out the forms. We know there's hundreds of them that we send every week, contributing to discussion, coming up with ideas, and overall just being so involved. And then Michelle will be taking on full speaker duties next week because I will be out of town. So if you have any questions or concerns, please contact her. She'll be chairing the next meeting. So send all your reports, resolutions, items for discussion, or guest speakers to her. Thank you. Are there any questions? 30 seconds. Okay, cool. The report of the speaker will be filed. Next, we have the report of the chief of staff.
Hello. So last week, we met with the Women's Leadership and Resource Center, and we did a lot of brainstorming there to mostly discuss the mental health initiatives we're working on and the task force. We kind of talked about our progress so far, ensuring that there's more continuity moving forward so that this is a standing committee and that all of our progress isn't lost once this administration leaves, and kind of building off of things we learned in the past with the Mental Health Coalition, and then also how to ensure that it's as productive as possible. And so that was very helpful in terms of internal structure and how we go about it. We also met with Robert Valentine, discussed the mental health task force again, and more in particular, we discussed the training potentially for the Green Bandana Project, how we would go about that, how long instruction might need to be, whether or not it could be integrated into a course that Robert Valentine teaches, and whether or not the students in that course could play a role. We're kind of starting to aim more towards a program that we discussed with Rex Tolliver, which would be a 1-hour training, but we're still kind of coordinating that and coordinating back with Robert Valentine to see what would work best so that we can ensure that when the Green Bandana Project is launched, that students are effectively trained and they know all the resources and all the legal issues maybe out of the way. And we also talked about issues with counseling resources, his perspective on it as a senior staff member at the counseling center, and what exactly we can do to improve that. I've been also, like I said, about the Green Bandana Project, working with Arthur and Anshu on kind of forming that more. We started official documents as proposals and also documents to explain how we're going to go about the trainings. And then I was appointed to the contact tracing team, and we met with Chief Booker, where, as was mentioned by Arthur and Anshu, we discussed the upcoming event, and then we also talked about the importance of identifying hotspots on campus where students might feel less safe and what we can do to improve it. Similar to the mental health task force, how the safety task force can be standing, there will be continuity, and how we can have more concrete deliverables. We also met with Rex Tolliver, where we also discussed some of the safety task force, and what I'm going to make more with Felix and his committee on, getting involved with events like the tailgate and tapping in the clubs on campus and FSL to ensure that we can have much more of a stronger university community. And that about wraps up my report. Any questions?
No, just in time. If you have any questions, oh my God, please email John. And with that, the report of the Chief of Staff will be filed. Next, we have the report of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee Chair.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Well, to start, today was the free headshots event. I was able to send reminders, and well, in the report it says it hope it went well, so I think it went well. For future, I think I'll just open more slots for people to sign up, just to make sure that even people, even if like the weather goes wrong and everything goes wrong, then people are still gonna show up. But still, we had a really good response. The headshots should be sent between 1 to 2 weeks. The person that's gonna be editing them, it's gonna go on vacations this week, so probably 2 weeks. But I'll send everyone that as soon as possible. If you did attend it and you did not sign up, please just send me an email so I can have your email and make sure that that gets to you. And I will try to host these more frequently, or us as a body, we're going to host these more frequently because these are no cost to students or cost to us. So it's really just us putting the work to host this. So definitely I'm going to have those more. But for deputy chair, the application has been shared with members. Members, if you're interested, apply. If you have questions, please let me know. And then for our committee meetings, I was able to host the first 2 sessions. It went great. Members are starting to work on their initiatives. And we all agreed as a group, which are going to be our next steps for each member to lead their own initiative. I was also able to attend a meeting with the program coordinator, our president, speaker of the house, and campus life committee chair to discuss quad redesign, as Anshu mentioned. I also attended a brief meeting with our president, our campus life committee chair, and then an athletics representative to discuss how can USG collaborate with athletics. I have also been working with the chief of staff to really finalize the diversity and inclusion handbook. I was able to review that today, and I was able to send that back. It's just a working document, so it's really not something bad, but I was able to edit that today. And then I am planning to host a showcase for all the student organizations, so we can meet different organizations and really know what they're doing, what their e-boards are doing. So I know we mentioned this on the just us in the office. So if any of the other committee chairs or students are interested in working on this with me, please let me know. But if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
There's time for one question, if there are any.
Just a clarification for my time. I feel like I didn't explain this correctly. So the showcase is just kind of like a mixer for us to get to know other organizations. So that's what you would be helping me with. So if you have any interest in that, let me know.
Great, thank you. And if you have any questions, please email Danny. And with that, the report of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee Chair will be filed. Next, we have the report of the Legislative Affairs Committee Chair.
Hi, everyone. So this week I met with John and others to discuss committee updates as well as to strategize on how to proceed on initiatives LAC is going to be working on this week. So last Thursday and Friday, we had our 2 committee meetings. And the Thursday group is mainly working on the eviction moratorium initiative. So we're all reaching out to certain centers such as the Community and Off-Campus Life Center, the Wellness Center, and Cultural Center to see if we can have information by their center passed to USC students in regards to what was sent during the core meetings by Professor Dick Simpson and some of the other faculty who've been interested in disseminating information regarding this issue. And then the day after National Election Day bill is sort of what we're writing in the committee meeting on Friday. So we're working to write a letter describing the purpose of this bill. So that would supplement something we passed the USG that we can show department heads sort of factual information on why some bill like this would be necessary. And we hope to have the rough draft produced in time to have it finalized after committee meetings on Thursday and Friday, and then shown to some other e-board members before we can put it in the agenda for hopefully Tuesday, our Monday meeting next week. And then Tenzin Dalma is initiating communication with the director at the DRC to discuss an initiative that she wants to pursue. So if anyone has any contacts at the DRC, feel free to reach out to me or Tenzin so we can collaborate on something like that. And as well as if anyone has contacts in the 3 previous centers that I think would be beneficial and receptive to working with USG for passing out information, also let me know. Yield questions.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions? Okay, if not, the report of the Legislative Affairs Committee Chair will be filed. Next, we have the report of the Public Affairs Committee Chair.
I'm gonna go fast on the other things so we can have a quick discussion. So I did a UIC radio thing with the president and student success chair. The custom stools vendor was approved and I've been emailing back and forth with them. So we're gonna start the designing process of that. I did get a response this morning from Darren Kent about the Adidas merch, which is what I want to talk about. So I'll come back to that. Deputy chair was announced. Congrats, Kenvi, and thank you to everyone who applied. And I've been working on collaborations with I'm going to be working on collaborations with other committees. Time got away from me, but and then web administrator Matt is still working on getting the representatives on the website. So going back to the Adidas merch, what it is, even though we get a 50% discount, they can't customize it themselves. We have to then send it to an embroidery shop to customize, so that will increase the price. So my opinion was just to buy the polo shirt from the Adidas website and buy the rest of our clothing merch from somewhere else, because the money we are using is student money. And I think it's kind of, I don't know, to me, it rubs me the wrong way to spend so much money on having name brand merch when who cares if it's an Adidas logo? So I'd like a discussion on this.
Are there any questions? Yeah, Michael.
50% off. What was like the price of the usual merch you get? Like, does the Adidas one with the cover?
Yeah, so for the polo, it will be around $35, $35 to $40 with the discount, but other items like a sweatshirt or sweatpants or a jacket, those start at 100, so they'd be $50. Whereas just getting a t-shirt or a sweatshirt from Custom Ink would be like 20.
Any more questions or comments? Yes, Rahi. Did you hear that, Abby? Rahi is in agreement with Mike. I also agree. Are there any questions, any more questions or comments? On Zoom? Okay. Abby, would you like to continue with your report? Oh, did you finish your report?
Yeah, I'm good.
Cool. Okay, any more questions or comments regarding the entire report? Okay. If not, the report of the Public Affairs Committee Chair will be filed. Next, we have the report of the Student Success Committee Chair, 3 minutes.
All right.
I got to stop. Okay. Go.
So my quote is, the essence of the beauty is unity and verity. And you want this quote is just so fit because I have some surprise news to report on. I'll take that at 5 o'clock. Firstly, in terms of sustainability, I'm doing follow-up meetings with my connections in the sustainability department. More to follow once I actually meet with them. In terms of my committee, I have finalized all the committee positions within my committee. So firstly, my deputy chair will be Yasmin. I only have 3 minutes here. Ambassador to International Affairs is me. Ambassador to the Department of National Sciences is Carolina. Ambassador to the Department of Social Sciences is Sarah. Ambassador to the Department of Math and English is Manor. Ambassador to the Department of Humanities.
Speak up, project.
Humanities and Diversity is Alex, and the coordinator of student outreach is Dia. We reviewed the USG OER Faculty Award. Now we'll be inviting the faculty affairs to our meeting and getting this program hopefully out and running before the end of the semester. In addition, we're going to be planning a roundtable mid to late November. Topics will be college affordability, hybrid learning this semester, and a discussion on the completely in-person learning that's going to happen next semester. Hopefully we'll have the provost talk about this, have the director of OER talk about textbook affordability, maybe dean of libraries if it fits. In terms of the USG reusable textbooks program, we're still figuring out how to transit the funds to students, and we'll follow up with the UIC bookstore in the US. In terms of the LES internships and career development department, the event that we're planning with them, it's going to be, again, mid-November. I'll be doing a meeting with Laura, the assistant director, tomorrow to further plan this and probably finalize some important details. And you know what, do I have time?
Yeah.
To share my
Yes.
my very exciting news. So, the past years, our unified student governments have never really, connected. But, through a lot of, connecting and networking, I've gotten UIS to agree to meet with us and UIUC student government to meet with us as well. We'll be forming hopefully a coalition. So that's my greatest news. That's why this this quote here is very fitting.
Yay! Okay, if there are any questions, please email Matthew. And with that, the report of the Student Success Committee Chair will be filed. Next, we have the report of the Campus Life Committee Chair, Felix.
All right, so this past week has been busy with a whole bunch of meetings. So I met with Moises, Associate Director of the Gender and Sexuality Center, kind of explain what the architects explained to us last week's meeting. and then how USG can better understand the issues and how to help. Then met with Jocelyn Chavez and then Ruby with Anshu and other e-board members, basically talking about the quad redesign, explaining what the architect said, giving them an update, how USG can help them. Then I had another meeting with Kevin Kane, Director of Fraternity and Sorority Life here on campus, how we can bridge the gap between USG and FSL, ways USG can support FSL. We were talking about event ideas, possibly going to each council to set up a time to meet with them, kind of introduce USG to them. I know years prior there have been events when it comes to like blood drives and so things like that. I still need to find a liaison for the Fraternity and Sorority Life Committee. So if anyone in the Campus Life Committee would like to do that, let me know. I know there were a couple of representatives missing, so I'll of course inform you on everything that we talked about this week. I met with Medea, RHA president, and Jackie, the RHA faculty advisor, getting some information when RHA meets, the times and the days, location. So we'll be, I'll be attending the meeting this Thursday with Isaiah. Isaiah is the campus housing liaison. And then I met with Tina, with Anshu and Daniela. We were basically talking about how we can bridge the gap between athletics and USG, ways USG can support athletic organizations. We were talking about possible event ideas as well. And then I got into contact with, oh my God, Latonja, sorry, I messed up the name, Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs, setting up a meeting to discuss the future of UIC campus dining with Anshu. And yeah, I yield my time for questions.
Great. Are there any questions? It's time for one. Okay. If not, the report of the Campus Life Committee Chair will be filed. On to our next order of business, which is announcements. Are there any announcements? Matthew?
I have a quick announcement. So, yeah, I'm the Vice President of the Chicago Chess Center, and right now we are seeking to completely redesign our website. So, you or if you know anyone that is proficient in website design, please email me. We'll probably be able to pay you once I get this approved by our board. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more announcements?
Yeah, I will.
Yes,
Get the
Anshu.
mic.
Oh,
Yes, I did just want to let everybody know that when we provided a space for some of the people from the Gender and Sexuality Center during our meeting with the campus architect, it was taken as we were like signing on to a letter that was addressing their concerns, which we never voted on. And so they signed us onto a letter with their concerns and sent to the chancellor. Once I received the letter, I let them know that this body did not vote on such a letter. And so if any of you guys hear that, we were signed on to a letter in regards to concerns regarding the quad redesign, just to update everybody, we did not sign that letter. I let them know they removed our signature and have informed them of the due process on how USG signs letters.
Can you mention the due process?
And the due process is you have to present the letter in a resolution and have it, the resolution state that USG is in support of this letter of concerns, and then it would be voted on by the body. And so that's the due process. Any representative or a board member can sign any letter by themselves, but it has to be for only them. And so you can have your name and you can write USG representative or your position, but if you're signing on to a letter on behalf of all of USG, it needs to be voted on.
great. Thank you, Anshu. Any final announcements? One more. Okay, cool. Our next item of business is adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn? Great. Is there a second? Second. All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All that opposed, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? Great. This meeting has been adjourned at 7:51 p.m.